Hey guys, it's a really beautiful day today and we're gonna plant some peas. And these are the purple peas that I planted last year. I'm gonna be planting them in the same row I did last year, but I actually have at least 5 other bags like this. So I'm gonna be planting several rows this year. I'm gonna plant one in my main garden and then one in the old kitchen garden. So this is the row that I grew my peas on last year, my purple peas. I actually had several rows last year. I'll probably have about 5 or 6 rows of peas this year. But this is the area that I planted in last year that I did a lot of videos on, so I'm planting there again the same kind of peas. I'm just going to go ahead and put some chicken manure compost down and scruff up the ground a little bit, and then I'll start planting. These are my blue shelling peas from last year, and these are the plants that I saved this year's seeds from. I saved so many seeds, I think a couple thousand, and then I also froze a bunch of peas that I actually still have in the freezer, but we've almost eaten through them. Now we're just adding some chicken manure compost. This is chicken manure that we've composted for over a year, and we kind of have this general rule of thumb that if it still smells like chicken poo, it doesn't go in the garden. So by the time we finally add it to the garden, it just smells like regular soil. And that has worked really well for us, and it just lets us know that it's not too hot to add to the garden. Now we've just scruffed up the soil surface a little bit with a rake, and I'm going to water this in really deeply to make sure that the soil is really nice and wet before I put the seeds in. I don't pre-soak any of my seeds for anything. I never have, and this has always worked really well for me. I just feel like there's no point in pre-soaking them if they're going to go in the ground anyway. So this is why I just get the ground really wet before I plant the seeds. I'm just using one of my son's arrows to make my holes, and I'm spacing them about 2 to 3 inches apart. You can actually space them 1 inch apart if you like to. Peas do really, really well when they're densely planted like this. A little tip for preventing powdery mildew on your peas is to take 1 part milk and 5 parts water and put them in a spray jug and spray your plants once a week to once every 2 weeks, and that'll prevent you from getting powdery mildew. Now, instead of pinching the holes closed, we're just taking some natural compost and spreading it over the top. We like to do this to kind of amend our soil each year anyway, so it kind of just saves us the trouble of closing up the holes and then also amending the soil, so we kind of hit 2 birds with 1 stone this way. You might notice we're not adding hay on top of our peas because these are so densely planted. We usually don't have any issues with weeds growing in between our pea plants, and if there are, it's really minimal, and the peas kind of just drowned them out. So there really isn't any need for us to put any type of weed blocker down. Now I'm just compacting the soil a little bit because I like my peas to be packed in nice and tight. One thing we will do though is put 8 inches of compressed hay in the walkways. Now Garrett's just removing one of the sprinklers that he added in last year because he accidentally broke a line when he was tilling the other day. So he's going to move this sprinkler sprinkler line to another area so it's not in the way, because we do like to till up our garden every year in certain areas depending. Once we get the root stout method down, we probably won't do as much tilling. Now we're going to use the tiller to level out the ground in this area, and we're also going to be adding some compost in and tilling that in as well. You can see our ducks and chickens are not bothered by the tiller at all. They're just so used to being around us and used to being around all this commotion that it just has no effect on them at all. So while he's tilling, I'm adding in a bunch of chicken manure or composted chicken manure because I want to add nutrients back into the soil here. Because we did have a garden here last year. We grew quite a few things, some of which was Brussels sprouts. We had strawberries in here, kale, the peas, onions. Oh, I'm trying to remember what else there was. There was a lot of stuff. This year we've got garlic already planted. We just did the peas in that back row, and I'm going to add 1 more row of peas, probably a row of flowers, and then I'm not sure what I'll do with the last row. I haven't made up my mind yet. Here are my ducks weeding my garlic. This is why I love having ducks on the farm, because they do a lot of weeding in the garden. Sometimes they'll trample things. I don't worry too much about them messing around in the garlic, because you can't really harm garlic that way. But you'll see them, they'll just pick the weeds all around the base of the garlic. I just love it. They're such hard workers. All right, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.